Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to talk about something powerful, something simple, something life-changing. We are going to talk about the secret habit of highly successful people. Not luck, not talent, not connections, not money. A habit, one consistent behavior that separates the average from the extraordinary. Look at people like Michael Jordan, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, and Oprah Winfrey. From completely different backgrounds, different industries, different personalities, yet they share something in common. It is not just intelligence, it is not just opportunity, it is a daily discipline, a powerful internal habit that most people ignore. The secret habit of highly successful people is this: they take full responsibility for their lives. That's it. It sounds simple, almost too simple. But this one habit changes everything. Highly successful people do not blame their parents, they do not blame the economy, they do not blame their childhood, they do not blame politics, they do not blame bad luck. They ask one powerful question every single day: what can I do better? While average people ask, why is this happening to me? Successful people ask, how can I grow from this? Responsibility is power. The moment you take responsibility, you take control. And the moment you take control, your life begins to change. Most people live in reaction mode. They react to problems, react to criticism, react to circumstances. But highly successful people operate in intention mode. They choose their response. They choose growth. They choose ownership. Let me tell you something important. When you blame, you give away power. When you take responsibility, you reclaim power. If you say, my life is bad because of other people, then your life can only improve if other people change. And that means you are stuck. But if you say, my life is the result of my choices, then you can change your life at any moment by changing your choices. That is freedom. Highly successful people understand a deep truth. You cannot control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you respond. This habit is not flashy, it is not dramatic, it is quiet. It is internal, but it is transformational. When they fail, they don't say it wasn't fair. They say, what did I learn? When they lose money, they don't say the market cheated me. They say, how can I adapt? When they face rejection, they don't say they don't see my value. They say, how can I improve my value? That mindset builds resilience, and resilience builds greatness. Success is not about never falling. It is about rising every time you fall. Stronger, wiser, sharper. Most people want success without responsibility. They want results without ownership. But life does not work that way. Responsibility is the price of growth. Imagine two people facing the same setback. One says, this always happens to me. I'm unlucky. The other says, this is tough, but I'll figure it out. 10 years later, their lives will look completely different. Not because of talent, but because of mindset. Highly successful people train their minds like athletes train their bodies. They strengthen their thinking, they guard their focus, they discipline their emotions. Responsibility means you stop waiting. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting for perfect timing. Stop waiting for someone to save you. Highly successful people do not wait. They start. They act before they feel ready. They learn while doing. They adjust along the way. This habit creates momentum, and momentum creates confidence. Confidence does not come from affirmations. It comes from evidence. Evidence that you can adapt. Evidence that you can grow. And you build that evidence every time you choose responsibility over excuses. Excuses are comfortable. Responsibility is uncomfortable. But growth lives in discomfort. The truth is, taking responsibility is hard. It means admitting you made mistakes. It means admitting you need to improve. It means facing your weaknesses. But that honesty is strength. Highly successful people are brutally honest with themselves, not to criticize themselves, but to elevate themselves. They ask, where am I weak? Where am I inconsistent? Where am I wasting time? Where am I playing small? And then they work on it. This habit turns obstacles into teachers. When something goes wrong, instead of asking, why me? They ask, what now? That single shift changes your trajectory. Responsibility builds discipline. Discipline builds habits. Habits build character. Character builds destiny. Your life tomorrow is shaped by the habits you choose today. If you want to unlock your potential, start here. Stop blaming. Start building. You may not control your starting point, but you absolutely control your next move. The secret habit of highly successful people is not secret because it is hidden. It is secret because most people refuse to practice it. It requires humility. It requires courage. It requires consistency. But if you embrace it, truly embrace it, your life will transform. Because the day you take full responsibility is the day you stop being a victim of circumstances and become the architect of your future. And this is just the beginning, taking full responsibility. Now let's go deeper. Because responsibility without action means nothing. The true power of highly successful people lies in what they do daily. The secret habit is not just ownership, it is consistent self-discipline. Highly successful people understand something most people ignore. Success is not created in big moments, it is created in small, repeated actions. Look at Kobe Bryant. He didn't become great because of one championship game. He became great because of thousands of early mornings, thousands of practice shots, thousands of hours when nobody was watching. Look at Jeff Bezos. He didn't build a global company overnight. He made disciplined decisions daily, long before results showed up. Look at Bill Gates. He developed the habit of deep focus and relentless learning long before success made headlines. Highly successful people fall in love with the process, not just the outcome. Average people focus on goals. Successful people focus on systems. Goals are important, but goals without daily structure are just wishes. Here is the difference. Most people wake up and ask, "What do I feel like doing today?" Highly successful people wake up and ask, "What must be done today?" Feelings change. Discipline does not. There will be days you feel tired, days you feel discouraged, days you feel uninspired. On those days, average people stop. Successful people continue because they understand something powerful. Motivation is unreliable. Discipline is dependable. Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. You want comfort now, but you want growth most. You want entertainment now, but you want achievement most. Every day is a battle between short-term pleasure and long-term purpose. Highly successful people win that battle more often than they lose. And here's the truth, they are not superhuman. They feel lazy sometimes. They feel doubt. They feel fear. The difference is they act anyway. They do not negotiate with their excuses. When the alarm rings, they get up. When it's time to work, they focus. When it's time to learn, they study. When it's time to train, they train. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Consistency compounds. One workout doesn't change your body. One book doesn't change your life. But repeated daily actions, that changes everything. Small improvements repeated daily create massive transformation over time. This is the power of compounding effort. Highly successful people think long-term. They understand that today's effort might not show results immediately, but they trust the process. Most people quit because they don't see results fast enough. They go to the gym for 2 weeks and stop. They start a business for 3 months and quit. They study for a short time and lose patience. Highly successful people play the long game. They don't ask, "Will this work tomorrow?" They ask, "If I keep doing this for 5 years, where will I be?" That question changes behavior. Daily discipline also means protecting your time. Time is the one resource that cannot be replaced. Money can return. Opportunities can return. Time cannot. Successful people guard their mornings. They guard their focus. They guard their energy. They say no to distractions. They say no to activities that don't align with their vision. Every yes to distraction is a no to your dream. The world is full of noise. Social media, notifications, endless entertainment. But highly successful people create focus in a distracted world. Focus is a superpower. When you give your full attention to one task, your output multiplies. Your learning accelerates. Your confidence grows. Discipline builds self-respect. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your self-trust increases. And self-trust is powerful. If you cannot trust yourself to follow through, how can you build something meaningful? Highly successful people build trust with themselves daily. They keep small promises. I will wake up at this time. I will finish this task. I will improve this skill. Small wins create internal strength. And over time, that strength becomes identity. You no longer say, "I'm trying to be disciplined." You say, "I am disciplined." When discipline becomes who you are, success becomes natural. Let me tell you something important. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. If your system is weak, your results will be inconsistent. Highly successful people design their days carefully. They plan, they prioritize, they execute. They don't let the day control them. They control the day. And here is something powerful. They measure progress. They track their habits. They evaluate performance. They adjust strategies. They treat improvement like a science. Instead of saying, "I'm not good enough," they say, "What needs improvement?" Instead of saying, "This is impossible," they say, "What's the next step?" That mindset builds unstoppable momentum. Discipline is not punishment, it is freedom. When you are disciplined with money, you gain financial freedom. When you are disciplined with health, you gain physical freedom. When you are disciplined with learning, you gain intellectual freedom. When you are disciplined with time, you gain life freedom. The pain of discipline is temporary. The pain of regret lasts forever. One day you will either say, "I'm glad I stayed consistent," or "I wish I had." Highly successful people act today so they don't regret tomorrow. And remember this, discipline is built, not born. You start small. Wake up 30 minutes earlier, read 10 pages daily, exercise 20 minutes, work with full focus for 1 hour. Small daily victories become powerful habits, and habits shape destiny. The secret habit of highly successful people is not complicated, it is not glamorous, it is quiet daily discipline powered by full responsibility. They show up when it's hard. They work when it's boring. They continue when it's slow. They improve when it's uncomfortable. And that consistency separates them from everyone else. Now we go deeper into the battlefield of the mind, because here is the truth. You can have goals. You can have plans. You can even have discipline. But if you cannot control your mind, none of it will last. The secret habit of highly successful people is that they train their mindset daily. They do not allow fear, failure, or doubt to control their actions. Understand this clearly. Successful people are not fearless. They feel fear. They feel uncertainty. They feel pressure. The difference? They act anyway. Look at Dwayne Johnson. Before becoming one of the biggest actors in the world, he was cut from the Canadian Football League and had only a few dollars in his pocket. That moment could have broken his belief, but instead of surrendering to doubt, he strengthened his mindset. Look at Sarah Blakely. She was rejected multiple times while trying to launch her product. Manufacturers laughed at her idea, but she reframed rejection as feedback, not failure. Look at Serena Williams. Throughout her career, she faced criticism, injuries, and setbacks, yet she developed the mental resilience to keep rising. Highly successful people build what I call emotional endurance. Most people quit not because they lack skill, but because they cannot handle emotional discomfort. They cannot handle criticism, slow progress, uncertainty, embarrassment, temporary defeat. But success demands mental toughness. Let's talk about fear. Fear is natural. It is a survival mechanism, but in modern life, fear often protects you from growth instead of danger. Fear says, "What if you fail? What if you're not good enough?" Highly successful people respond differently. They ask, "What if this works? What if I grow? What if this changes my life?" They don't eliminate fear, they redefine it. Fear becomes a signal, not a stop sign. When something scares them, they often see it as a sign of expansion. Comfort is dangerous. Comfort keeps you average. Comfort keeps you stuck. Growth lives outside comfort. Highly successful people intentionally step into uncomfortable situations, public speaking, new investments, bigger responsibilities, bold decisions. They stretch themselves, and every time they survive discomfort, their confidence expands. Now let's talk about failure. Failure is misunderstood. Most people see failure as identity. I failed, therefore I am a failure. Successful people see failure as information. I failed, therefore I learned. That shift is powerful. Thomas Edison once tested thousands of light bulb materials before success. If he had labeled himself a failure, innovation would have stopped. Instead, he viewed each failed attempt as data. Failure is feedback. Every mistake teaches you something. What doesn't work? What needs improvement? Where your weakness is. Highly successful people analyze failure instead of emotionalizing it. They don't sit in self-pity. They sit in reflection. They ask, what went wrong? What can I control next time? What skill do I need to improve? This mindset transforms setbacks into stepping stones. And then there is self-doubt. Self-doubt whispers quietly, you're not ready. You're not qualified. Someone else is better. Even the most successful individuals experience this. It's called imposter syndrome, and it's common at higher levels of achievement. The difference is this: successful people do not wait to feel confident before acting. They act their way into confidence. Confidence is built through evidence, and evidence comes from action. The first time you speak, you feel nervous. The 10th time, you feel capable. The 100th time, you feel powerful. Action reduces doubt. Avoidance strengthens it. Highly successful people choose action. They understand something deeply important. Your mind believes what you repeatedly tell it. If you constantly say, "I can't," your brain searches for proof. If you say, "I'll figure it out," your brain searches for solutions. Language shapes belief. Belief shapes behavior. Behavior shapes results. That is why successful people guard their self-talk. They replace "I'm bad at this" with "I'm learning this." They replace "this is impossible" with "this is challenging." Small shifts in internal dialogue create massive shifts in performance. Another powerful habit they practice is visualization. Before a big performance, elite athletes mentally rehearse success. They see themselves winning, executing perfectly, staying calm under pressure. Your brain cannot easily distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and real ones. Mental rehearsals strengthens neural pathways. Highly successful people use this to their advantage. They don't just hope for success, they mentally prepare for it. They also manage their environment. If you surround yourself with negativity, doubt grows. If you surround yourself with ambition, belief grows. Energy is contagious. Highly successful people choose environments that challenge and elevate them. They seek mentors. They read powerful books. They consume content that strengthens their mindset. They feed their minds the same way they feed their bodies. And here is something powerful: they detach from outcomes. This does not mean they don't care. It means they focus on effort over results. When you obsess over results, anxiety increases. When you focus on effort, performance improves. You cannot control every outcome, but you can control preparation. Mental strength is built like muscle, through repetition. Every time you face fear, push through discomfort, learn from failure, silence doubt, choose action, you strengthen your mindset, and over time you become emotionally unshakable. This is the hidden advantage of highly successful people. When pressure rises, they don't collapse. When criticism appears, they don't crumble. When setbacks happen, they don't quit. They adapt, and adaptability is survival at the highest level. Your mind can be your greatest weapon or your biggest obstacle. Highly successful people train it daily. They don't let temporary emotions make permanent decisions. They don't let one bad day define their identity. They don't let external noise override internal belief. They understand that the real competition is not other people. The real competition is yesterday's version of themselves. And every day they aim to improve by even 1%. That small daily improvement compounds into extraordinary results over time. Responsibility builds control. Discipline builds endurance. Together, these form the secret habit that separates the ordinary from the exceptional. If you're serious about taking action in your life, stop waiting and start now. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, because here on this channel, we bring you daily motivation, life-changing insights, and the push you need to stop procrastinating and start achieving. Don't just watch, take action, and let's rise together.